welcome to episode 2 of the Dickheads Talk Sport podcast. I'm Tommy.
And I'm Jed.
And we are two dickheads talking about sport we like. I'd also like to clarify that we are not experts and are just voicing our opinions. And if you disagree with what we have to say there, that's fine.
Okay, so today, for episode 2, we're talking about soccer. So we are going to do our Premier League predictions. We're going to probably base most on the Premier League because that's pretty much the only league we really focus on that's outside of Australia. But we'll do some other small predictions for like winners of other leagues, and we'll talk about transfer rumours and some other games that have already started. Obviously, the Premier League has not started yet, so I can't really talk much about it. Yeah. And then I've just got a few questions for Tommy as well. So we'll start off predictions for the Premier League. I'll ask you first, and this is probably going to be the easiest question of the podcast. The winner of the Premier League.
Well, even though Liverpool have a 25-point lead, I still think Man City could come. I'm kidding. Obviously, Liverpool have won the league pretty much, and it's
25 points ahead already.
It's been a very impressive season from Liverpool, and there's not much else to say about it. That the rest of the league has been somewhat disappointing.
Yeah, so obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan myself. Tommy, Tottenham fan. It's not bias or anything. They obviously should win the league from here. If they don't, well, I'll be stunned.
Is it even possible? Because there's only 9 games
Yeah, I
left,
don't think it is. Okay, so next we will be going for our top 4. Who will finish top 4?
Well, as it stands, so Liverpool on top, Man City second, Leicester City third, and Chelsea fourth. I think it will stay as it is, maybe with Chelsea moving up to third and Leicester finishing fourth, but otherwise...
So you think Leicester will lose a few games at the end? So there's 9 games remaining, so you think Leicester might drop a few points?
Well, I know there's obviously been a big gap between games, but Leicester in 2020 haven't been as good as they were since when the season started, late last year.
Yeah, well, obviously they have been second for a bit. Obviously, I don't think Leicester will push up to second. City 4 points ahead with a game in hand. And I think it'll go probably the same. I don't see United finishing in the top 4.
I think United will still finish 5th.
I think that if there's one team that'll finish in there, probably United.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go Liverpool, City, Leicester, and Chelsea. So now we're going to go to the other end of the table and go relegation.
This is an interesting one. So it looks like Norwich are comfortable where they are.
Yeah, in last.
Then maybe Aston Villa as well, because they're currently 19th.
Yeah.
I think the only thing to change how it is now is maybe Watford going down.
Yeah. So obviously Watford, the only team to beat Liverpool this year, probably stunned a lot of people. But I think it's going to be the same as Tommy. I think they will go down. I think Bournemouth do have that talent. They just haven't...
They just haven't used it this year.
So I don't... well, you think about it now. West Ham, Watford and Bournemouth all on 27 points. So they're all in the relegation zone.
With Brighton only 2 points ahead.
With Brighton 2 points ahead. With only... So West Ham is out of the relegation zone by 3 goals. So goal difference.
Okay, that's interesting.
And Watford only by 1. So do you see potentially West Ham going down? A pretty decent club who have finished high in the last couple of years now, sitting equal 18th.
It wouldn't surprise me, but...
It'd be pretty big.
It would, actually.
And I'm going to go for it. I reckon West Ham are going to get relegated.
Instead of...
So I think it'll be Norwich 20th, Aston Villa 19th, and then West Ham 18th. So that would be the 3 teams I think will get relegated.
Interesting.
And then we're going to go down to the Championship.
Yeah.
So who do you think will get promoted? So obviously the 2 at the top get automatic promotion. And then the playoffs. So 3 teams come up.
Well, as it stands, it's looking like Leeds and West Brom will both come up to the Premier League.
Yeah. So Leeds are on top 71, West Brom second on 70, and then Fulham 64, 2 on 60, and then Preston North End finish at 56.
Now with 3 to 6, that could easily change. Yeah. They've still got 9 games as well.
So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams only 2 games out of the top 6. So I think the top 6 could change a lot.
So it's really hard to determine here, but I think maybe Nottingham Forest win the playoffs and come up to the Premier League, but it's really hard to
So I think Leeds will finally get their time to come up. West Brom will come back after being a few years in the Championship. And I think I'm gonna go Fulham. I think pretty decent side. I think they'll get the job done in the playoffs. So now we're going to go back to the Premier League, and we're going to go Player of the Year. So there's probably only a couple players in contention for this award.
So realistically, it's either Kevin De Bruyne or Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
Now I know a lot of people disagree with that because he doesn't score 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not.
He's been the
how he
rock
plays.
in Liverpool's midfield.
But De Bruyne he scores all
it's
the
amazing.
goals and gets so many assists. It's just incredible.
So if you go for a top three, who are your top three? So just adding one more player in there, just for a bit of.
Okay. So I think Kevin De Bruyne to win.
Number one, yeah.
Jordan Henderson second.
Second.
And I don't really know for third. Like
it's pretty close.
Players. Yeah.
Below that. So I'm gonna go the same. I'll go De Bruyne. I'm actually gonna go Sadio Mane for number two.
Okay.
I think it's his best season at Liverpool. I think he's probably equal best player right now with Van Dijk.
Okay, yeah.
Even though Van Dijk's last season was definitely better than this season. You can't really fault this season, though.
Yeah.
We've lost one game. And then I'm going to go with... See, I don't reckon Henderson will make top three.
Okay, that's interesting.
I reckon... You know what? I reckon Jamie Vardy will finish third.
I can see that.
I reckon he'll win the Golden Boot and finish third. It's a big call, but you never know. I just don't think... Obviously, heaps of people are hyping up Henderson. Yep. And I think if he could potentially finishing top third, but I think maybe fourth or fifth, Hendo will finish.
Okay. Well, in that case, I guess I'd also put Vardy third because he's been one of the best strikers in the league, along the lines of Aubameyang and Danny.
So I think maybe I was probably only going to say Van Dijk. Obviously, probably best defender in the world. Probably not as good as his last season, obviously, after winning it.
But we both have De Bruyne to win.
Definitely De Bruyne.
Okay.
And then we'll go Young Player of the Year.
I think it's a no-brainer, but Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I think it's not as competitive as recent years, obviously. Sterling winning it last year. I don't think he's had that good a season. He's probably still eligible in the next 10 years to win it. So, yeah, I'll go Trent as well. It's not heard of. 12 assists from right back at this with 9 games to go in the season. Yeah.
So other youngsters you could think Martinelli or
I think
Greenwood.
Not played enough. Like, obviously he's been good when he played, but I don't think to win it. Okay, now we're going to go over to awards for the season based on performances in goal scoring. So we're going to go the Golden Boot.
So we've basically already said Jamie Vardy
Jamie
to win,
Vardy.
but it'll be very close as
very close.
Has been this whole season.
If you look at the top goal scorer, so you got Jamie Vardy sitting 2 ahead on 19 to Aubameyang, who's on 17, and then you got Aguero and Salah on 16, and Ings ending the top 5 with 15. So it's really close, but I think it'll be Vardy. I reckon, no, I'm biased. I reckon Salah will finish second. I think he's going to finish the season off pretty strong, and then I'll go Aubameyang, Aguero, Ings.
Okay. I think the top 2 will stay the same as it is now.
Well, I think Aubameyang is Arsenal. Like, he's too good for all the other players on the team, pretty much.
Because even if the team itself isn't great,
he's still scoring goals.
Good. I'd also have Aguero still third.
Yeah.
And I think I'd put maybe Mane fifth with Mo at fourth.
So, yeah, I reckon if Mo starts scoring for a second, Mane will stay out of the top 5.
Okay.
But if they share the goals, I think Mane could slip in. I still reckon Danny Ings could stay in there with Southampton. He's their main goal scorer this year. So now we're going to go Golden Glove.
I mean, so who's on top? I think it's between Dean Henderson and Allison, yes?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's only 3 that could
Was-
win it.
Maybe Leno as well.
Maybe Leno, but I think it's a no-brainer out of the 2 that could win it.
It'll probably be
Henderson.
Allison.
It'll probably be Allison. Obviously, Henderson having a great season at Sheffield.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to predictions of who's going to win other leagues. So we'll move out of the Prem. And first one, we'll go with Ligue 1, so the French league.
So they've already crowned PSG champions,
Yeah.
but since the league is continuing, I'm not sure what's going to happen there.
Yeah,
even if
exactly.
they most likely will still win.
So we'll go. So they have a top 3, the Ligue 1.
Yeah.
And so right now, PSG's on 68 points, 12 points ahead of Marseille, and Rennes is on 50. So probably the top 2 will stay the same. But do you see Lille pushing ahead of Rennes?
It's looking very low. I mean,
So
only
they're 1
point
point
out.
behind Rennes at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, 5th is on 41 points, so there's probably no other team maybe that could, but I see PSG obviously winning it.
Yeah.
With a goal difference of 51, and second's got a goal difference of 12. So it's a bit of a stun to see that. And they've got a game in hand as well. So they're obviously going to win, and it's against 10th. So 51 goal difference is insane to have the next 12. So now we will go to the Serie A. So the Serie A is close up the top. Juventus 63 points, Lazio 62. But then Inter 54 and Atlanta 48.
This one hurts because Inter was really good at the start of the
They
season.
were, and they've dropped off a bit.
Which is really disappointing to see. But
I think the top 5 will definitely stay the same.
Yeah.
So 6 is only on 39 points, so it's a big drop. Because then Milan, Verona, Parma, Bologna, and Sassuolo could potentially finish up there.
it is very close.
It is very close from 7th to 13th.
But as for top, I think, as always, Juventus will win.
With dominant
but
side.
only just.
So Lazio could cause an upset this year, which would be nice.
I think everyone would love to see that.
But yeah, I don't see it really changing. So the next league we'll go to is the German Bundesliga. And obviously, was a tight race between Dortmund and
Leipzig.
Bayern, but I think Bayern have pushed ahead a bit, 7 points on top.
Only 4 more games.
4 more games left, they have to bring back 7 points, so I see Bayern winning that.
That's another one for Bayern. But top 4 is interesting because there's 5 goals between Mönchengladbach and
Yeah, so
Leverkusen.
they're both on 56 points. 6th is 13 points behind 5th, so the top 5 will stay the same. But will Bayer Leverkusen sneak into the Champions League spots?
What about Leipzig are only 3 points ahead of 4th and 5th.
So Leipzig could drop out as well.
which would
So
be
that's a
interesting to see.
that'd be a good one to watch on. So now we will move over to the Champions League.
What about La Liga?
So left in the Champions League is Atalanta, Leipzig, PSG, Atletico Madrid, and then
That we know of.
that we know of so far. So the next games that are City, Real Madrid, which
I think they won.
City are up
Yeah.
2-1. Sorry, Juventus, Lyon, and Lyon are actually up 1-0. Bayern, Chelsea, which Bayern are up 3-0, and Barcelona, Napoli, which is even going to Nou Camp.
Okay. So,
Who do you see winning the whole thing?
it's really interesting considering Liverpool got knocked out. I think Bayern's one of the better teams that
Yeah.
could win it.
I think maybe you go on previous things and you go PSG struggle,
PSG and Man City both struggle.
but I think this could be the year that PSG could do it.
Okay.
Don't really see any other. City could, but I don't really see them. Barcelona, obviously. So it would be tight. So now we'll go back to the La Liga. So it's still a tight race between the two good teams, Real Madrid and Barcelona, and then there's a drop-off for all the others, as usual.
Now, I think this is one of the other leagues where they crowned the champions already.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's happening there considering they may not win it.
Yeah, it's a bit. I think with PSG, you can because they're probably going to win it, but 2 points ahead and they've crowned a champion with going back to play.
So it's only 2 points between Barcelona and Madrid, and that could easily change. So.
Yeah, and there's also a 2 point gap between 6th and 3rd. So Atletico Madrid are 6th right now. So if they want to make the Champions League again, they're going to have to keep winning. And yeah. So now we'll go Europa League. So this, obviously, a lot of nobody teams. But you've got these teams left. Well, so what are they in the round of 16? First legs have been played. So we've got Istanbul beating Copenhagen 1-0. Obviously, Sevilla and Roma haven't played at all. Basel beat Frankfurt 3-0 away. Man United beat Lask 5-0 away. Olympiacos and Wolves drew. Bayer Leverkusen beat Rangers 3-1 away. Shakhtar beat Wolfsburg 2-1 away, and Inter Milan and Getafe haven't played yet. So I want you to name your overall winner.
Okay, so for me, it's between Man United and Inter.
Yeah.
I think coming down from the Champions League, sometimes they lose momentum.
Yeah.
But we saw a couple of years ago when Atletico, they won when coming down.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Inter is the better team overall.
Yeah.
But this year they haven't played as good as late last year.
Mm-hmm.
But with this big break in between, it's really hard to tell.
Well, they obviously were dominating the league with Juventus probably until this year, and then they've dropped off. So I see 3 teams in it.
Okay.
I see Inter Milan, Manchester United, and Bayer Leverkusen.
Okay.
I think they've come out of this and started the league really well. Obviously, losing yesterday to Bayern, but it's Bayern Munich.
Not much to expect.
But I think they will be. So I think if you go top 4, I reckon there'll be one surprise, and I'm going to go. I reckon Wolves.
Wolves have been very
top 4. I reckon they'll get to the
watch.
semi-final. But I think overall winner will be Inter Milan.
Okay.
So now we go back to England, and we go the FA Cup.
Okay, so
there's 4 games, 8 teams remaining.
Yep.
You got United and Norwich, Arsenal, Sheffield, Leicester, Chelsea, and then City versus Newcastle.
Okay, so I think we all know that United's going to beat Norwich.
Yeah.
Arsenal and Sheffield is you really don't know because
it's at Sheffield as well.
Okay.
So take that in consideration.
I still think Arsenal will get away with it.
Yeah.
But that's really tough. Also, Chelsea and Leicester's
that's a big game.
But
at
I think
King Power as well.
Still think Chelsea would win that game. And then Man City will demolish Newcastle.
So you've got your final 4 as Chelsea, City, Arsenal, United, 4 big teams.
Yeah.
I reckon there'll be one team that upset.
Okay.
And I'll go Sheffield.
Yeah.
And I reckon Leicester will win.
Okay.
So I reckon the final 4 will be City, Leicester, United, Sheffield, and Manchester United. And I reckon the winners will be Leicester.
You think they'll win the FA Cup?
I reckon, obviously, Sheffield can play their best team. It's still not really strong. They'll get knocked out in the semis. United play a weak team in the FA Cup. But then, I don't know, Leicester will play their strong team, I reckon, and City just play their second team, and it's nearly as good as everyone else's first team. And I reckon they'll cause an upset in the final against City if they don't get them in the next round. And I reckon they get them in the next round, they win that, they'll beat Sheffield or Man United.
Okay. Well, my winners would be Man City.
Yeah.
But it depends who they play against, because if they're playing Arsenal or Chelsea, then they'll probably win. But if they're playing Man United, you really don't know this season, because Man United have done the double over them in the league.
Okay. So now we've just got a few questions for tell me if they come up.
Anytime now.
So, okay. So, got a few questions about the Premier League. So the first one I was gonna.
If they want to show themselves.
Yeah. So we've written down a few questions, but it's just okay. Here we go. So does Sheffield United keep the form going for the last games of the season? So they are currently sitting sixth. Seventh, sorry.
Seventh, okay.
Equal with sixth though, with Wolves. So they're 5
Yep.
points out of top 4, 2 points out of the top 5. From a team that's just been promoted in this season,
Very impressive.
do they keep going?
A lot of people have been saying that they may push for top 4. I don't think that will happen.
But could they make top 5? Or do you reckon United and Wolves have that spot wrapped up for one of them?
I don't think they have a wrap. I think United will finish 5th, but
Yeah.
6th spot will definitely be a
Those
good
two.
battle between Wolves and Sheffield.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way they play, they don't score a lot of goals. They just defend really well.
Very defensive team.
And win games 1-0,
Yep.
2-1, yeah.
I mean, it works.
So these are two questions that, obviously, one's on your behalf with your team, and then the team below you, Arsenal.
Yes.
Do you see either of them making the top 6?
No.
So Wolves, who are 6, are on 43.
Mhm.
Tottenham are only 2 points below that.
Oh, okay. Not as bad as I thought.
Sheffield are 2 points in 7th, 2 points above Tottenham, but have a game in hand.
Yeah.
So if Sheffield win their game in hand, they go to 5th. But Arsenal are on 40. So
Okay. I think I changed my answer because it's not as bad as I thought it was looking at first, but with this break, like we had a practice game the other day, which I did watch. Some of the players are looking better.
yeah,
Some, players like Harry Kane and Ndombele have come back from injury,
yeah,
which
that's
is
good.
good to see.
Obviously, if you get your best team in, I think you could potentially make it.
I think that was our main problem with certain injuries, which held us back, especially Harry Kane out because we didn't have a backup striker for him, which really affected
Well,
us. in
it
the
is
long-
very
in the
close.
long
So
run.
Arsenal have a game in hand as well.
Mm.
That's your only problem. So, so 5th's on 45 and 11th's on 39. So that's how close it is right now.
Wow.
So you only get under 30 points at 15th. So it is very
Okay.
close in the Premier League right now. So if a team between 8th and 14th have a run of 4 or 5 wins, they could be the team that move up. So it's pretty close in the Prem right now.
Okay.
So this is a question. This is a club question for you. What do Tottenham need for next season?
I think our main problem is, like I said before, we don't have a backup striker for Harry Kane.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is our biggest flaw because we rely too much on him.
So
And as soon as he's injured, we're done.
yeah.
Well,
So
we
you
don't
have your backup is
Well, you could say Lucas Moura, but
Lucas
he's
Moura,
much
who-
better suited for a winger position.
yeah. There's another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he should have started in the Champions League final?
No.
No. So he gets you through to the Champions League final with a dominant performance against Ajax.
It's tough to say because he just came back from injury, but
Yeah,
Lucas did have the momentum, and I
Definitely.
think he should have started. And I don't think it would have changed the result necessarily, but
Yeah.
I think it may have helped us a bit more.
definitely. All right, so now we got some comparisons.
Okay.
So we'll start off with a team comparison. So you go with 2018-2019 Liverpool.
Yeah.
Who obviously won the Champions League. Or 2017-2018 Man City.
I mean, as good as Liverpool were to be the best team to
Yeah.
not win the league, Man City getting 100 points is a bit stupid.
So Man
Because it
City.
was very good. Yes, I'd have to
So I
go
think
Man
you
City.
go, because Liverpool didn't win the league, if they won the league that year, then it could be another argument.
Yes.
If it was this year, they won the Champions League this year with their dominant in the Prem. But obviously they're out of the Champions League now. So you go City.
Yep.
We'll go prime Mohamed Salah or prime Eden Hazard. So if you look at their best season when they were in their prime, Salah obviously had that season where he
Yep.
came to Liverpool, tore apart pretty much every team. Obviously you got Hazard, who very good in his prime. Probably people don't see him as much because he didn't score as many goals as Salah.
It's
But
interesting.
they're both very good players in their prime season.
Yeah.
Like we're not going on how good for many seasons. It's when they were at their best.
So what would you say is prime Hazard?
It was like 2014, 15.
Okay. That was a big year for Chelsea because he did get Player of the Year and
Yeah.
they did win the league. The only thing that affects Hazard is he's not as effective in European competitions as Salah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really tough to tell because I know a lot of people aren't going to like my answer if I say Salah.
Yeah.
But his first season in England, he scored 32 goals,
Yeah.
which is very stupid.
And led Liverpool to a Champions League final. So you're going with...
He also got Player of the Year,
Yeah.
let's not forget, but it's just they didn't win the league or any trophies, which everybody looks at for individual performances, which I don't agree with. But I think I'd go Salah because he was just so effective in front of goal that season.
Okay, so we'll go on the past few seasons.
Yeah.
Would you go with Harry Kane or Aubameyang?
Okay. So when you say... So how far are we going back? So a few years to like...
Go last 3 seasons. So 2017.
Okay. Well, okay. So 3 seasons ago, so that would have been 2017-18, Harry Kane scored 30 goals that season.
Yeah.
In the last 2 seasons, he scored about 15 because he's had troubles with injuries. But Aubameyang just managed to be consistent, even if his team hasn't been that great.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think I'd have to go with Aubameyang.
Aubameyang?
He hasn't been injured. He's just been... And he won a Golden Boot. May win a second.
Yeah, no, he's going second, I think he is at the moment, behind Jamie Vardy.
Yep.
Okay, so you're making a team right now. You start at the goalie. Who do you pick? Leno or De Gea?
Leno.
I think right now, definitely Leno.
Leno's
You go-
definitely in better form.
You go over the past couple of seasons, you can't not pick De Gea. Obviously one of the best in the world, but I think he's dropped off
Just
a
little
bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's bad now, but
He's not bad. He
dropped
just makes too many mistakes.
Okay. So, would you rather win the Premier League or the Champions League?
Well, this is tough because it's weird when some teams win the Champions League because they're not as good in the domestic league. Like, I know Liverpool did win that season, but when they made the final, they only like just narrowed to
Yeah, definitely.
4th position in the Premier League. But I think winning the domestic cup is just
definitely
something better about
winning your own league in your own town.
it sort of depends what team you are. Because compared to like a PSG or a Bayern or something, like they win the league every year. So
they'd
winning
say
Champions League is
League,
much more important to them.
And they've also obviously struggled, like
Yeah.
PSG. Okay, so for Tottenham, a realistic but dream signing right now for your team to improve. Obviously, it can either be just a big player or somewhere where you need what you think would really help.
Well, as there was transfer rumours about this, I would have liked Koulibaly in the defence, but
Definitely a big...
would have been a huge signing, but he didn't seem too interested. Can't say I blame him. Otherwise, just the hype around potentially signing Dybala last summer, which was... That really caught me off guard because I was thinking, it's like, oh my god, imagine him in the team.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, of course. But something about a return of Gareth Bale.
Obviously, dominate. People know he's really good, but just the Real Madrid not liking him.
And he's had certain injuries which have affected him.
Like back to his days in the Premier League. Very good. Good to see a return. Obviously, haunt Liverpool. Okay. So we'll go over the past 2 or 3 seasons. How do you rate Tottenham's transfers in and out the past few seasons? So you've got Ndombele, Sessegnon.
Okay, I'm going to go back. So, where are we going to? Like 2017, 18?
2017.
Okay. So, 2017, we signed Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, Davinson Sanchez.
Sergio Aurier.
Yeah.
Davinson Sanchez's first season was fantastic. The last 2 seasons, he's been good, but not like as good as he was when he first got here.
Yeah, definitely.
Sergio Aurier, he's had some good moments, but he's not a great defender. Like, going forward, he's really good, or he can be good. But I don't think he's been like impactful as he Could be.
Okay, and Serge.
Just talked about him.
So
2018, we didn't sign anybody.
that was a year where just didn't do anything. It was a bit of a shock to a lot of people that you just left it, where people thought you need more people.
There's a lot of places where we could have improved, but our owner is a tight ass that doesn't want to spend money. So, yeah. As of this season, so we signed Ndombele as our first.
Yep.
I feel like he's had struggles with injuries, but when he does play, I feel like he's very effective in the midfield.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he's really good on the ball. As well as when we signed Lo Celso on loan at first, and then we bought him permanently in January. He's also, I find that he's very effective when he plays in the midfield.
Yeah.
He's been one of our better players this season.
Yeah.
As a players like Sessegnon, he's had some good moments, but he hasn't really played a lot, and he has had an injury, I believe.
And how about Bergwijn?
I was very excited to sign him. It sort of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
When it happened, I was just like, hang on, what's going on? And then he scored against Man City. I was like, do that every week. I like that. So I think he's got a lot
more to give.
Yeah, he's got more to give. And I think he started off really well. And who else did we sign? So we signed Jedson Fernandez on loan.
Yeah.
He hasn't played a whole lot, but I know this happens with a lot of clubs. Like they play a couple of games and then everyone overhypes them. He hasn't been an amazing player, but I think that he is effective. Not as effective as a Lo Celso and Ndombele, but I think it should be interesting to see how he goes when Premier League restarts.
That's a lot. Like, as you talk about Bergwijn, that was like our Fabinho signing. Like, it just came out of nowhere.
It did, yeah.
Like, I just saw it, I'm like, didn't really know who he was, but it was like, okay, we've just signed him. And he's turned out to be a very good player.
Because I saw rumours of him going to Arsenal for ages. And then when he signed him, I was like, hey, I'll take it.
And you like those signings. The ones that they just keep quiet and then all of a sudden, I
was thinking, have I missed anyone? I don't know if I've...
No, you haven't signed a lot of people. Like a lot of other clubs. Like Liverpool, we've signed heaps of players. Okay, now we'll go best team to miss out on the title in the past 5 years.
It's the best team to not win it?
Yeah.
Well, Liverpool 18-19, they got 97 points, I think. Lost one game. It was just a very good season.
Just unlucky to have a team like that. It was so good. Yeah. Man City above them.
Their battles with Man City were definitely the best games of the Premier League the last few years. Other than that, I don't want to be biased, but I think Tottenham 16-17 were definitely our best side recently.
Yep.
Our home form was amazing, even if I think it was 7 points that Chelsea got on us to win the league. But other than that, I can't really think of anybody else. You got anyone?
It's probably, those two, I think, not being biased, but as a Liverpool supporter, any other year, you win the title that year. Just having a team that's over 100 points, it's very good to watch.
Because most years there's always like the one winner, like there's no one else like in sight. Like this season, like 25-point lead, that's mental. Really.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're obviously the Bundesliga has already started.
Yeah.
Back. They started on the 16th of May.
God, it's been like 3 weeks already.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And we'll just be talking about a bit of the Bundesliga and how it's been and how they've started. So, have you watched any?
I did get the first half of Dortmund versus Schalke.
Yeah.
It's really hard to watch these games because they're on like early in the morning, so I just can't be bothered sometimes. Yeah. And I did watch a bit of Bayern and Leverkusen yesterday.
Yeah, so obviously Dortmund have lost.
They lost to Bayern.
They lost to Bayern, and then all the other games they've played, they've dominated. They won this morning against Hertha, 1-0. Yep. With the ex-Liverpool man Emre Can scoring the goal. Obviously Bayern dominating, just being Leverkusen.
Yep.
I think the way it keeps going, obviously Bayern aren't going to lose.
I think they've got the title. They've clinched it again.
You like to see the teams that are... Obviously, there's a lot of speculations around players in the Bundesliga moving. Well, you've got Timo Werner, who's right now linked very, very much to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Obviously not done yet, but they're really saying that it's about to happen. You got Kai Havertz, who's looking United, Liverpool, Bayern.
I heard about Real Madrid as well.
Obviously, Real Madrid's always going to be in there. Like if
Overspend on him, yeah.
If there's a player there, he'll take it. Obviously, Liverpool have just started looking at Jadon Sancho.
Really?
Obviously,
okay, I haven't heard about this.
Dominant player.
Yeah.
I think it's only on the last couple of days. And yeah, they're obviously all great talents, and if they all leave, Bayern, if they get Havertz, Leipzig lose Werner, Dortmund lose Sancho, then Bayern aren't going to lose the league.
So nothing will change.
Nothing will change. Bayern will dominate even more.
So what I'm thinking is, so if Chelsea do get Werner,
yeah,
would they still be able to get Sancho?
I reckon they'd have to get one. So, well, they've obviously got Ziyech. They've got him. And obviously now they're looking at Ben Chilwell from Leicester. Obviously just come out as a good star lately, last couple of years for Leicester. And obviously helped them this year. Obviously.
And of course Chelsea's going to overspend on him.
Yeah, so they're looking at a lot of money for Ben Chilwell. And yeah, so I reckon Chelsea could push maybe for the title next year if they get all three of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any other transfer rumours that you've heard or of lately that...
All I'm seeing is the speculation about Koulibaly, where he might go.
Yeah, definitely. I think
so
he's been...
So Spurs, Liverpool, and then...
He's been in the news the last couple of years for going places, but just stuck with Napoli, and then obviously they got Manolas to build that very strong defence. Obviously, I think...
Sixth in the league, I believe.
They're sixth, so they're struggling, but they've got a solid defence.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's obviously a very good centre-back. I obviously know if Liverpool get him, we'll be very, very happy to have two of the best centre-backs in the world at the back with the defence we have at the moment. So yeah, there's not a lot more transfers that we're saying, but there's been a lot of big ones that have come out that might happen.
I think over the next couple of months we'll hear
definitely
a lot of big ones.
And obviously as the Prem starts, we'll see if they really need those players and what the speculations are.
Okay.
So this time next week we'll be doing another Premier League one. We'll have our tips for the upcoming games. Obviously, they don't start this weekend. They start next week. And then we'll have our reviews of the games that go on this weekend. And yeah.
Alright. That's all the time we have today. Thanks for listening to the Dickheads Talk Sport podcast, and we'll see you next time.